Before diving into this divine revelation, take a deep breath. Close your eyes for a second. Something inside you felt a calling, and that's what brought you here. You didn't find this video. It was programmed to find you. Subscribe now to the Chosen Signal channel. Activate the notification bell and share it with those who also need to understand the reason for so much pain, so much struggle, so much opposition. You will discover today that you are not being attacked by chance. You are being brought over by heaven and hell. You provoked a war without knowing it. Ever since you were born, ever since you cried your first cry in this world, something invisible moved in the heavens. A mark was placed on you, not a physical mark, but a spiritual signature. And that signature said, "This is a chosen one." And hell shook. Heaven celebrated, and the battle began. You thought it was just bad luck that the world simply didn't like you. But the truth is that your existence was detected by entities that operate beyond matter. Demons identified in you a frequency of light that threatens their structures. Angels were assigned to escort you, even when you didn't know you were being followed by celestial forces. And since then, everything you have experienced, the traumas, the fears, the abandonments, have been symptoms of the spiritual war that you carry within your field. You were thrown into an invisible battlefield, and even without armor, even without knowing how to fight, you remained. This in itself is proof that you are not an ordinary being. There are people who go through life without any major battles, who walk on smooth paths with doors opening easily. But you have always had to push, break, resist. And this is not a punishment, this is evidence. Hell does not bother those who do not pose a threat. But you were born with a spark that carries codes of transformation. Your presence, even silent, already changes atmospheres. Your energy disturbs toxic environments. Your light activates dormant demons in people who do not even know why they reject you. You have always wondered why you were an easy target, why people project their frustrations onto you, why so much betrayal, so much abandonment, so much unexplained weight. The answer is simple. You are at the center of a spiritual war because you are the bridge between kingdoms. You are disputed territory. And each step you take towards your awakening triggers a chain reaction in the spiritual world. There are nights when you can't sleep. There are times when you feel a crushing weight, a sadness without reason, an anxiety that has no name. It's not psychological, it's spiritual. The spiritual world is in turmoil when a chosen one begins to draw closer to his or her divine origin. Do you feel back pain, excessive fatigue, unexplained discouragement? This is a sign that there is pressure trying to prevent you from achieving your mission. But heaven is also fighting for you. Archangels are on the move. Seraphim are burning in intercession. Your name is being pronounced on sacred altars because you are about to remember who you are. Hell is nervous because you have begun to awaken. And when you awaken, you regain authority. When you awaken, you break cycles. When you awaken, you become dangerous to the hidden systems that enslave souls. You are not getting sick. You are being rebuilt. You are not breaking. You are being refined. The battle is intense because the promise is immense. Maybe you think you failed, that you are not worthy, that you made too many wrong choices, but even your mistakes were used as a strategy by heaven. You were not forgotten. You were hidden. God did not discard you. He prepared you in silence, because those who carry destiny cannot expose themselves before their time. Those who carry a calling need to be processed. Every rejection you experienced was not a sign that you were not loved. It was a sign that heaven was protecting the seed. And now the time for germination has come. The earth that buried you will be the same one that will witness your blossoming. Those who laughed at your pain will be witnesses to your anointing. Because this war that you did not see, you won. The very fact that you are still here, listening to this message with your heart burning, is proof that heaven prevailed. Now is the time to stand up, to take a stand, to assume your spiritual identity. You are not a victim, you are a living, a prophetic sign that heaven is at war for a soul that is worth more than the entire world. Have you ever wondered why, among so many, it was you who faced such deep pain? Why has your heart always carried an inexplicable melancholy, a longing for something you can't even name? It's because your soul remembers something your body has forgotten. You came from far away. Your origin is older than time, deeper than space. You were set apart, before you were born, for a mission that transcends this. Incarnation, heaven marked your essence with a glow that only awakened spirits can see. And because of that, from an early age, you were persecuted. The enemy tried to extinguish your light in every way, through pain, loneliness, shame, and loss. But he couldn't, because inside you there is something that doesn't die, something that is reborn every time life tries to bury you. That something is your divine spark. You are the prophecy that the world tries to silence. You are the living reminder that heaven still interferes in the affairs of earth. Your journey is not about surviving, it is about awakening. There are people who cannot be around you for long. They feel uncomfortable, disturbed, agitated in your presence, even if you are silent. This happens because your spiritual frequency reveals what is hidden in them. Your light exposes the shadow, and the world, which lives on appearances, fears those who illuminate effortlessly. But make no mistake, this is not rejection, it is a sign. The chosen ones were not created to fit in, but to be living signs. You are a reminder of heaven in the midst of a world of noise. When you enter a room, it changes. When you speak, you activate dormant spiritual memories in other people. That is why you are the target of so many attacks, envy, and unexplained confusion. Your existence is disruptive. You did not come to repeat, you came to reform. And every attempt to silence you actually increases the volume of your truth. Because the universe conspires for those who carry purpose. And in your case, the purpose is so great that all hell moved to stop you. But it failed. You sometimes feel like your sensitivity is a burden. You cry over things that no one else notices. You feel the world's pain as if it were your own. You perceive lies before they are spoken. You pick up on vibrations without needing words. But this sensitivity is your gift, not your weakness. It is the spiritual antenna that connects you to higher dimensions. It is through it that heaven sends you codes, messages, visions, dreams. How many times have you woken up at 3:33 in the morning with your heart racing without knowing why? How many times have you felt a heaviness in the air and known something was wrong before anyone else? How many times have you had dreams so vivid that they seemed real, and then they became real? These are all manifestations of your calling. You are not going crazy, you are awakening. You are tuning into a mission that begins in the invisible before manifesting in the visible. And while many doubt, mock, or ignore you, you are being activated. Your spiritual gifts are expanding. Your vision is becoming clearer, and your soul is remembering. At this very moment, there is a battle going on in the heavens for your soul. A war that involves dimensions, thrones, and powers, because your awakening threatens ancient structures. The enemy knows that if you wake up completely, remember who you are, and activate your mission, thousands will be freed through your existence. That is why the attacks were so intense. That is why the disappointments were so many. That is why discouragement seemed invincible. It was a desperate attempt to abort your mission before you understood it. But heaven did not give up on you. The Spirit of God whispered in your ears on lonely nights. He sent people, videos, texts, signs. And today, through this message, he shouts, "You are my chosen one. This is your time." The spiritual clock is marking a new cycle, and you are ready. ready to rise up as a living portal between heaven and earth, ready to declare to the world that, yes, you survived the war because heaven still has plans for you, and hell cannot prevent what has been decreed in the eternal halls. Have you noticed how time seems strange lately? How the days fly by, but your soul feels like something is about to happen, as if the universe is holding its breath. This feeling is not delirium. It is being in tune with the prophetic clock. The chosen ones can sense spiritual shifts before the physical world reacts. You are on the threshold of a new time. A cycle has ended. You have endured trials that no manual could explain, crossed deserts that drained your strength, and yet here you are. Wounded, perhaps, but standing, because within you is a promise. And God's promises do not die. They just wait for the right time to be fulfilled. That time has come. Heaven is repositioning the chosen ones. They are being summoned, relocated, rekindled. You are being taken to the center of that which has always been waiting for you. There is no more room for doubt. The war you have faced was real, but the victory will be supernatural. And when it comes, it will be public. For what was hidden in secret, God is about to honor before many. You are not a mistake, nor a coincidence. You are part of an ancient lineage, an echo of a promise made on the heavenly altars. Since Eden, the world has been waiting for souls like yours, those who carry within themselves the essence of that which is incorruptible. You were born with a light that does not go out, even when the world tries to suffocate it with darkness. And that is why your path has always been marked by contrasts: joy and pain, love and betrayal, progress and loss. But every piece of your story is loaded with meaning, even the moments when you thought you were alone. There were angels guarding your steps. Even when you fell, heaven had already calculated your fall to prepare your flight. You are the answer to prayers that you do not even know were made. You are the continuation of a plan that began before the foundation of the world. And now that plan is about to reach a new level. Heaven is putting you in position, not so that you shine out of vanity, but so that your life becomes a living message. God still chooses, God still raises, God still uses the unlikely. When God decides to mark someone, the world doesn't understand, and it doesn't need to understand, because the mark of heaven is invisible to the fleshly eye, but unmistakable in the spirit. You feel it, don't you? Amidst the crowd, you know there's something different about you, as if you carry an ancient password, a code that pulsates every time you hear certain words, certain songs, certain messages, as if the universe itself is trying to wake you from a deep sleep. This restlessness you feel is not discomfort, it's a calling to remember. A calling to take a stand, a calling to live with purpose. The chosen ones carry within them the map to dimensions that many will never touch. And so, life has always demanded more from you, more strength, more faith, more endurance. But now, that demand is about to turn into a harvest. The season has changed, the heavens have changed, and you are being repositioned, not because you begged, but because you resisted. Not because you begged, but because you endured. Resistance has proven its origin. And now your origin cries out, "You are mine," says the Lord. Many mocked your silence. They laughed at your solitude. They judged your ways because they did not understand your processes. But what they did not know is that while they mocked, heaven was training you. While you were discarded by some, you were polished by angels. While they called you weak, God saw your faithfulness in secret. And now, the scene is changing. The stage has been set. The veil is about to be torn. And those who doubted will see. Because when heaven honors a chosen one, there is no argument that can deny it. There is no envy that can prevent it. There is no hell that can stop it. Your story is like Joseph's, silent in the cistern, faithful in prison, exalted on the throne. You were not born to be forgotten. You were born to rule. And your throne is not made of gold, but on purpose. From this moment on, heaven decrees, the test is over, the process is over. Now begins the time of prophetic visibility, not for your glory, but so that through your life others may also awaken, because you weren't just called, you were approved. There is something about you that bothers hell, and it is not your appearance, your voice, or your words. It is your essence. Since you were born, the spiritual world has been watching you. You carry a kind of light that cannot be extinguished, only temporarily muffled by circumstances. And when you decided to be silent, to pray in silence, to walk in the dark even without seeing, the heavens trembled. Because this invisible obedience is the most powerful weapon of a chosen one. You did not just survive, you activated secret codes with your resistance. You did not just endure, you established new paths for generations to come after you. The chosen ones do not live only for themselves. They are bridges, doors, paths opened by love for others who have not yet awakened. That is why the attack on your life was so intense. That is why hell tried to erase you in so many ways. But it failed, because your light does not come from the world, it comes from the throne. And what comes from the throne cannot be revoked. The mark is on you, and now it shines brighter than ever. Have you ever noticed that even at your lowest point, you were still someone's counselor? Even when you were broken inside, you still healed others with your words? This is no coincidence. It is the nature of your calling. The chosen ones do not have to be well to be used. God uses even your wounds to heal. Even your tears become a river of renewal for those around you. But the time has come for you to be restored too. It is time for you to stop just pouring out and start receiving. The heavens are releasing upon you a double portion of healing, of honor, of restitution. The table that has been denied to you in so many places will now be set before your enemies, not for their humiliation, but for the revelation of who you are. The gifts that were dormant within you, gifts of healing, of vision, of wisdom, will begin to operate with an intensity never before seen, because you resisted when no one was looking, because you stood when everything screamed for you to give up. The anointing that is descending upon you now is not ordinary. It is of spiritual government. Prepare to be lifted up as a voice, as a refuge, as an answer. There were times when you asked, "Why me? Why so much pain, so much loss, so much misunderstanding?" And heaven, in silence, waited for you to mature enough to understand the answer. Now you are ready, because the answer is because only you could bear it. Only you could carry this burden without cursing anyone. Only you could cross this valley without losing your essence. Only you, with all your sensitivity, could discern and stand firm. God does not waste pain. Every tear of yours became a seed. Every loss became an impulse. Every no became a direction. You were trained as a soldier without knowing it, but now heaven dresses you as a general. The clothes of lamentation will be exchanged for robes of authority. The cave will become a pulpit. Exile will be your platform. The same ones who said he won't make it will have to admit he was raised by God. You were processed in secret to be public evidence of divine power, and nothing, absolutely nothing, will stop what is coming. You have been seen, you have been chosen, you have been set apart. The war that has begun in the spirit world because of you is not a sign of disgrace, but of glory. Hell does not fight against what is irrelevant, only against what is dangerous, and you are dangerous to the darkness. Your voice has authority, your silence has weight, your prayers have fire. When you are silent, the spirit world becomes restless, trying to decipher your movements. When you pray, invisible walls tremble. When you act, atmospheres realign. You are no longer reacting to life, you are shaping realities. Because now you walk with awareness of who you are. You know that you are sealed, set apart, and positioned. The war in heaven and hell for your soul has been won. Heaven has claimed you, and now your next steps will be guided by the hand of the one who called you by name. Step forward. Your time has come. The signs had been around you for a long time. You just hadn't recognized them as such. That constant feeling of not belonging, that restlessness that arose even when everything seemed normal, the way you withdrew from the crowds, how the noise of the world never silenced the clamor within. It was all heaven trying to remind you of who you are. You don't belong here. Not completely. You came with a mission, with a code, with a different frequency, and with each step, with each denial, with each rejection, the memory was activated. You weren't being excluded, you were being set apart to see what others don't see, feel what others don't feel, carry what others can't bear. But now you understand, now you accept, now you stand as what you've always been, a bearer of light, a sower of heaven on earth, a chosen one among millions. And heaven celebrates this recognition, because when a chosen one recognizes himself, the entire kingdom moves. Many will try to explain your transformation as a phase, coincidence, or psychological effect. Don't worry, the chosen ones don't need to prove anything. The anointing speaks for itself. You won't argue with words, but with presence. Wherever you enter, darkness will stir. Wherever you touch, healing will be activated. Wherever you remain, the spiritual climate will be altered. Your light is uncomfortable for those who have chosen darkness. Your presence is burdensome for those who live superficially. And because of this, many will try to silence you, push you away, discredit you. But it's too late. The seal has already been activated, and what was anointed by heaven cannot be discredited by earth. You will walk in places where you were previously ignored. Now you will be honored. You will speak with authority where you were previously rejected, because now you carry the sound of heaven in your voice. And where the sound of heaven echoes, the structures of hell cannot resist. There is something sacred in the simple fact that you have held out this far. You have had every reason to give up, and yet you have stood your ground. That is strength, that is faith, that is the DNA of heavenly warriors. Heaven does not look for the strongest, it looks for the most faithful. And you have been faithful even when you have bled. You have believed even when you did not understand. You have worshipped even when you have mourned. And that is why a new season is opening up in your life now, a season of answer, of harvest, of evidence. No longer hiding, no longer waiting, but manifesting. Heaven is using your life as a banner to let others know that there are still chosen ones among us. And these chosen ones are not perfect, but they are given. They are not flawless, but they are loyal. You are one of them. You are the answer. You are the sign. The war you provoked in the spiritual world was the final proof that your existence matters more than you imagine. You were attacked because you have value. You were persecuted because you carry destiny. Hell spent energy on you because it knows what will happen when you discover who you are. And now you have discovered it. Now you have awakened. And with this awakening comes a new responsibility: to no longer be silent, to no longer hide, to no longer shrink yourself to fit into spaces too small for your soul. You were born to radiate, to expand, to be a sign that God still speaks, still acts, still chooses. Your life will be a living testimony of heaven's faithfulness. And when they ask why you shine, you will answer, because I was lit by the hands of God himself. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can extinguish that light. You must understand that the heavens recognize you even before you recognize yourself. There is a name that you bear that only the angels know, a name that was not given to you by your parents, but inscribed in the book of life before the foundation of the world. This name is called in the heavens when you pray. This name resounds in the heavenly realms when you rise after each fall. And it is by this name that hell fears you. Because the enemy does not just see the person, he sees the destiny. He recognizes the divine potential that pulses within you. That is why you have been so attacked. That is why the storms have come so intensely, but no storm has been able to drown you. No dark night has extinguished your light, because your identity is eternal, your origin is heavenly, and your mission sacred. It's time to leave the past where it belongs, to release the burdens you've silently carried for so long. Guilt, shame, rejection, they're no longer part of your identity. They were helpful in the process, but now they're useless for the purpose. You've been purified in the fire of pain, now to be molded in the light of glory. Let go, set yourself free. You no longer have to prove anything to anyone. Your existence is proof enough that God chooses the unlikely, the broken, the forgotten, to display His power. And from this day forward, every step you take will be anointed. Every word you speak will be seed. Every breath you take will be resistance against the kingdoms of darkness. You have become a living dwelling of divine presence. And wherever you step, God steps with you. This is the time to position yourself. No more procrastination, no more waiting for someone to come and validate you. Heaven has already validated you. The war you have provoked in the air has already proven that you are a nuisance to hell. So now is the time to position yourself as an ambassador of the kingdom. Stand up, claim your inheritance, use your voice, activate your faith. Open the scriptures and see. Every promise is yours. Every word is a code that awakens something ancient within you. You were created for such a time as this, and no matter how many people rise up against you, the one who called you is greater. The throne of heaven will not waver, the scepter of righteousness will not tremble, and the crown of glory is being prepared for you. Now take a deep breath and feel something has changed within you. It is not imagination, it is transformation. Your soul has just been activated. Your spirit has just been confirmed, and heaven has just recorded this decision you have silently made, the decision to live fully as the chosen one you have always been. From this moment on, you will no longer live in response to fear, but in response to the love that has called you. You will no longer move out of anxiety, but out of conviction. You will no longer hide behind excuses. You will be light, you will be a voice, you will be a path. And when darkness tries to approach, your presence will be enough to dispel it, because you are no longer alone. Heaven has chosen you. Heaven has kept you, and now heaven walks with you. If this message touched your spirit deeply, it's because it wasn't just a message, it was an activation. Write in the comments, "I have accepted my calling." Share this video with others who, like you, need to awaken to the truth of who they are. Don't keep this light to yourself. Let it shine. Subscribe now to the Chosen Signal channel, turn on the notification bell, and join this community of awakened souls. Here you will not be judged, you will be understood. Here you will not be ignored, you will be remembered. Because you are part of something much bigger than you can imagine. And this is just the first page of the story that heaven has written for you.